We're in Black Point, Nova Scotia, where I'm visiting my mom and dad today, and I'm going to be going out in the garden with my mom and grab some plants so I can bring them back to my house in Halifax and put them in my newly landscaped backyard. But first, my mom wants to show us all the DIY projects that she's been working on.
Well, I've been working on lots of different things around the property.
Okay, you're gonna show me?
I want to show you everything we've been doing here. So I made that with the driftwood. So I found these in the basement and I spray painted them. I found plants around the property and transplanted them. I designed this and have them shower installed. Just want to tell you about our flagpole. We got the poles from the tennis court. We put 3 of them together. That gave us 30 feet. We thought we'd do a garden. I took the poles from the tennis court and built this. This is my vegetable garden that I planted.
Now I'm gonna know I get all the DIY from my mom.
I think you get it from both sides, dear.
Our deck build is moving along nicely, but we still have some projects left to complete in the next few weeks, including my zero maintenance backyard landscaping, a horizontal privacy fence, and building planter boxes from Hemlock wood to pull the space all together.
So instead of doing railings coming down the stairs, my idea is to do planter boxes. That way we get a little bit of added privacy, and it also creates this garden effect where you get the sense that there's more greener out here. So I have 18 boxwoods from the Home Depot Garden Center, and I want to be able to plant 3 in each box, and I have 6 steps. So basically every 2 steps there's going to be another planter box. We have to put the hemlock in to create like a planter box effect, and then it's going to rise as we go up to the top of the stairs.
In order to achieve this rugged and functional look for my Hemlock planter boxes, we need to start by framing out the steps. We're using the leftover 8-inch wide pressure treated lumber for this part of the project.
It matches the height of the rail, and then not too much height at the bottom of the stairs where it meets the other rail. So this is my design, this is what I want to do, and now I just have to take it over to Stefan and see if we can figure out together how we can build it so that it looks as much like my vision as possible.
This part of the project requires thoughtful calculations so we can achieve a long linear look without wasting any of this precious wood. With the Hemlock boards being 10 inches wide, our 8-inch framing will give us an overlap on either side so we can clad and secure the hemlock.
Oh, here's the last piece of the planter box going in. Not going in. Gotta trim this one. Last piece of the planter box, which is the last step of the deck, which needs to be cut again. Last piece. Perfect fit.
With the last piece secured, the planter boxes are ready to receive the boxwoods.
I'm just putting the rest of the joist wrap inside the boxes and lining them before I put the dirt in. It won't rot as quickly. I put the joist wrap inside the box to protect the wood. Then I drilled through the joist wrap to create drainage holes and added gravel on top of that. There's extra drainage, gives the roots somewhere to go. And then I added a little bit of dirt. Now I'm gonna put my boxwoods in. There we go. So now we're just gonna repeat that for all 6 planter boxes.
The amalgamation of Stefan's carpentry skills with my design intuition has produced a one-of-a-kind staircase railing.
I am happy with how things look in here, but it really ties it all together. It looks great.
It's been great working with Stefan, but now it's back to landscaping.
I've got a few things that I picked up at the Home Depot Garden Center, and then I've got a couple of things that I was able to get from my mom's property. My mom is here today to help me with the gardening in my backyard because she has a green thumb, and she's the one person in my family I know I can get to come over and help me with the gardening. I've got a piece of lupin that I took from my mom's property. Lupins were my grandmother Higgs's favorite flower, and she was so blown away when she came to Nova Scotia and saw them growing everywhere wild. Mom, did you actually plant these, or are these just growing?
Some were here last year, but then I took the seeds and I rubbed them into the ground, and then we just got this bountiful harvest.
Or
take the small one that's in here, they're easier to get out. Step on it and then do your gymnastics. Look at that one. That baby's coming up. Oh my goodness, Rebecca, you got lots of great plants in here.
Yeah, we're gonna get those in today and make sure they have lots of water. Finish off our landscaping that we need to do here in the backyard. So Mom, you're the gardening expert in the family.
Kind of.
The neighbors have a great, beautiful garden, but it is overrun now by goatweed. I'm certain that there's some kind of like super food in goatweed that we just haven't figured out how to harness, because maybe we could like turn it into a powder and make like a bunch of money off of it.
Rebecca, you'll think of something.
Well, because you know why they called it goatweed?
Goat, yeah.
Is because it was what the kings and queens had to eat when they had goat. Because it would cure the goat, because if you ate too much rich food, you'd have to eat the goatweed, but I'm sure it's just like greens, so it's probably like a super green.
I thought goatweed was for the goats, you know, the neighborhood goat.
No, it's goat like G-O-U-T, goat, like goat, like gangrene.
The spelling is
not
on.
goat.
I always thought it was goatweed for the goats, you know? The neighborhood goat would, you know, just eat it all up, the field be clear.
That's all we need is a goat.
You need a
we
goat.
We just need a goat to get rid of the goatweed.
And you know that Crocodile Dundee story?
Yeah.
About now, that's a knife. Because that cuts through all kinds of branches. I just go zipping through anything I don't like around the property.
Careful where you point that
it's
Crocodile
very
Dundee
sharp.
knife.
So I'll just do a little X on here.
Okay, Mom, how do we know if it's good dirt?
Well, one sign is that there's a nice worm in here. And that is a good sign that the soil is healthy.
Okay.
And I can tell it's not sandy and it's not clayey. You've got a nice soil in here. Sometimes what I do, Rebecca, is a little trick. I take my composting material and I put them in a blender, and then I just pour it right in the hole.
So should I do that? Because I got a full compost bag and a blender.
Well, that would be awesome. Why don't you do that? So what's really nice about having a compost that's going into the ground, it's almost like mixing a cake or making bread. Every plant needs certain things. They need good soil, water, sunlight, and no frost.
With our DIY compost solution forming quality soil, Mom and I power through the rest of the gardening.
The old spin and dig, the old dig and spin, the old spinster.
With a seamless deck meets garden design, it's time to define the boundaries of our backyard retreat. For this project, I'm partnering with Maritime Fence's expert wood department to create a custom horizontal privacy fence. In order to get the straight, angular look I'm going for, we have to dig through the asphalt at the bottom of my driveway. This has become a full-day ordeal. At the end of the day, the posts are installed and set for the night in concrete.
It's day 2 of the fence build. Maritime Fence is back again to get the wood slats up on my horizontal privacy fence that is being installed at the bottom of my driveway. It's going to have a really modern look and a little bit of a design element because we're alternating 6-inch boards with 4-inch deck boards. So it's going to look great. It's going to blend beautifully and seamlessly in with my back deck, and it's going to bring this whole backyard together. The style of privacy fence becoming popular?
Yeah, the horizontal is actually something that's becoming up-and-coming design that a lot of people are doing. And I find that if you use decking instead of the fence board, it actually is, it holds its structural integrity a little bit longer than a fence board.
Well, that's cool. How long have you been working for Maritime Fence?
A year.
A year? But you've been building stuff?
10 years.
Wow, 10 years?
Yeah.
What, since you were 12?
Yeah.
So Mike just grabbed me for a second so we can take a look at it and decide what we want to do for spacing. Yeah, and I like the smaller gap better because I think it'll just add a touch more mystery. The privacy fence is built. The wood is up and it looks great. And the pattern that they did for the wood is really beautiful, and the gate and the hardware, everything turned out just like I wanted. From the start, I wanted to create a zero maintenance backyard. That means I didn't want any grass to mow. So we've done some hardscaping, we've got lots of rock, but I still wanted a little soft place for Lennon to land. Like if she's swinging out of the apple tree or something.
2 rolls of Astro Turf have been delivered from Home Depot. My yard space is prepped and I'm ready to roll it out and install it.
I've never installed anything like this, so fingers crossed, it goes okay. So I'm going to start with the seam in the middle of the turf, and I want them to line up nicely, and I'm going to use these D-nails to secure them together. I just want to make sure that the 2 edges of the carpet line up perfectly so that the grass will overlap and you won't see the seam at all. There's a few large rocks underneath this Astro Turf that I have not removed, nor do I want to remove them. So I'm just cutting down a few of these U staples to fit enough that it holds the seam together, but it doesn't run into the rock below the surface. Because I have full length staples on either side going out to the edge, this will just be a quick little fix to get it done.
With the interior seam secured, I can move on to the next step, hammering down 6-inch galvanized nails every 1 to 2 feet. I'm starting from the middle and moving out to the edges. That way I can pull and smooth the Astro Turf as I go for a tight finish.
A pretty significant amount of nailing that needs to be done here. But the good thing is, once I do the nailing, my labor is done because I won't have to ever mow it. When you get to the edge, you need to cut the Astro Turf to match the size of the ground. But since I'm not really that short on the edge, I think it'll look nice if I just tuck this underneath the mulch and the rocks. So I'm lifting up my garden rocks and I'm gonna pull the turf tight, nail it down, and then I'm gonna put the rocks back over top of it and fill it in with the mulch. So I think that'll keep me from having to do too much more cutting.
For my first time installing Astro Turf, I'm very pleased with how it turned out, and I think Lennon is too. A lot of the time while I work, Lennon has to occupy herself. But after all the hours spent on the deck build, I think it's time we did something fun just for Lennon.
We're gonna paint the playhouse with the old paint from my house. So this is the exterior.
No, I want like a big house like yours.
Oh, well, you can have that when you're older, but for now, you'll have a cool playhouse. And we're painting her playhouse to match my house. So we've got the noble gray color for the exterior and Egyptian rose on the door.
It's a playhouse fit for royalty. Lennon even serves up some high tea to celebrate all our hard work. All that's left to do is to add some decorative touches so we can finally sit back and relax. I couldn't have pulled it off without all of my friends who've helped me along the way. Thanks to their expertise, this project turned out better than I could have imagined. The wide swinging gate from Maritime Fence flows flawlessly into our zero-maintenance green space, stepping on beach stone and river rock to a hardscaped oasis. In partnering with Home Depot, my outdoor living space has doubled. We extended the existing deck and added an additional platform. My stairs are now stars with these unique Hemlock planter box railings. My backyard oasis is finally finished and in full bloom, just in time to enjoy the last remaining weeks of summer. Now, how about some quality time with the ones I love? That is until my next passion project shows up on the horizon. Thank you all for joining me for this summer edition of DIY Mom. See you next time.